Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at wraps per inch. That's a little tool or a method that helps you work out what size your yarn is, what weight it falls into, just in case you've lost the yarn labels. And sometimes you may be wondering if one particular type of yarn, even though it's labelled 4 weight, will work with another type that's also a 4 weight. So using the wraps per inch method, it helps us solve all those problems. And here we have a little chart that I have taken from the Craft Yarn Council. With their permission, they're happy for me to share this with you, just as long as I link back to them, how to do the wraps per inch. So this is a Craft Yarn Council weight, and it's a standard weight in these categories from 1 to 0 to 7, and they suggest that let's look at a medium weight of 4, that you should be able to wrap your yarn around something 9 to 12 times, as long as you've measured out an inch in length. So I've used a little cylindrical, it's a craft knife, and I've put 2 pieces of tape exactly 1 inch apart. So the idea is we wrap the yarn around here between the marks, between the tape, and see how many times it goes round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there are a few gaps, just nudge them together slightly. Yes, 9. So that goes around 9 times. I've not pulled the yarn, they're not all squashed up, they're just sitting nicely side by side. So we know that one is 9 wraps per inch. So make a little note of that one being, we've got 9 wraps per inch in the lemon. Okay, now this one and this one both had a yarn label, and they're both labelled Aran. Now that's a 4 weight, and technically the range should be between 9 and 12 wraps per inch. So if we try the mustard coloured Aran yarn and wraps per inch, just gently, and then nudge them down slightly. Yeah, so now we count those, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So I have 11 in the mustard colour. So I just put an M, and then that was the lemon. Right, now if we look at the other Aran yarn and do the wraps per inch again on this one, getting it in a knot. Right. Once more, just very gently, just so they're next to each other. I think once more. Okay, so we count these. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So there's 9 for the grey. Right, so we can see here, one had 11 wraps and one had 9. Yet they're both in this medium category. There is a slight overlap here, but don't worry too much about that for now. The Craft Yarn Council also do a standard yarn weight system. So we've decided all our yarn that we've measured now comes in this 4 weight category, in the medium. we know that some of it's Aran, and if we work our way down, I'm just going to do a little line here because it's easier to follow. We've got the crochet gauge there. Don't worry about that. We need to know what hook size we need. Okay, so the range lies between 5.5 and 6.5. So if we're thinking of 5.5 hook size to 6.5, obviously in between there will be a standard 6mm hook size. And then we actually had at the thicker end of the yarn, we had a 9 wrap, and then we also had an 11 wrap, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 12? No, 11. Right, so we had an 11. So 11 would fall around here. And don't forget, it went to 12. So this was actually the wraps per inch. So we'd got a 9 and an 11. Now, which hook size? You can see here that the wraps per inch 9, so that's thicker yarn, would need the 6.5mm hook. It's right at that end. But the 11, it's in between the 5.5 and the 6. It's nearer here, so I would imagine either of those would be fine for that. Possibly going down to this one. So it's in a range, and it's up to yourselves which hook size you choose, but they do go on to say, if you work a little crochet gauge in single crochets, crochet a length of chains about 7 inches and then do some single crochets and do a couple of rows, and then measure the top of your stitches, put 2 pins in 4 inches apart and count your stitches. And they're saying that you should have between 11 and 14 stitches, single crochets. Well, I would assume with the thicker yarn, the wraps per inch of 9, you'd probably get 11 stitches. And then for the finer yarn that went around perhaps 12 or 11 times, you'd have more like 14. But I would advise you to download these, have a good look at them, and just, if you're having difficulty getting your head around it, try and just take it in bite-sized chunks and just have a go. It's well worth it. And then if you wanted to make a little project, you could actually categorize all your yarn, loose yarn, into wraps per inch, and then you'll be able to get the right tension on any of your projects that you like to do. Well, I can't thank you enough for watching. I do hope that's helped and not confused you all too much, but I found it quite fascinating, really. Such a neat little idea, and always love learning something new. Okay, so thanks again and see you soon. Bye for now.